Good morning. Craig Howard here. Happy to be with you again. I woke up this morning thinking about how nice it felt to rest, how nice it felt to just kind of lay there and rest. Even after sleeping, it felt good. Yesterday was a long day. I spent about 11 hours driving, or at least traveling. Part of that was not driving, but getting this young lady that I had picked up and taken from a homeless situation and got in a shelter. And I know all of you are saying I shouldn't have picked up a young lady and taken her anywhere by myself, but I wasn't going to leave her on the street, and that was the only option I had. Anyhow, it wasn't all spent driving. It was a long day. And so it felt good just to get home and kind of sit down in the recliner and rest. And it felt good this morning to wake up and just kind of lay there for a few minutes and just rest. And I thought, our body needs rest. No question about that. But do we often think about, or do we realize how important it is not only that we have rest for our bodies, but that we have rest for our souls? Jesus said in Matthew 11:28-30, he says, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden or are carrying a heavy burden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you." In other words, let me share the load with you. A yoke was something that was used to yoke two oxen together. And so instead of just pulling the load by yourself, he says, let me yoke in with you. Let me take my yoke. Let's link up. Let's carry this together and learn from me. Whenever they had a team of oxen, whenever they had a young oxen that they were training to pull, they would yoke that oxen up with with an older oxen, and the old oxen would teach the young oxen how to do the job. And so he says, yoke up with me, let me help you pull the load, and yoke up with me and learn from me. Because he says, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. Not just rest for your body, but rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. In other words, he's saying, I'm going to carry most of the load. I'm going to carry most of the burden, which was what happened when you put a younger with an older oxen. A big older oxen would carry most of the load while the young oxen was just there along to follow along and learn. We need rest for our bodies. We understand that. But you also understand that we need rest for our souls. We can become soul weary, and that's when we get all stressed out. That's when life just seems to overwhelm us, when we just feel like everything is falling apart in life, when we become soul weary. That means we need to take time to yoke ourselves up with Jesus. That means we need to take time to spend time alone with Him. We need to spend time just talking to Him. There are times where I have a beautiful view from my porch, and I turn the camera around. It really doesn't show it very well. I'm going to try it. That's the view from my porch. And it's very relaxing sometimes just to sit here. Camille does it, I do it. We'll just sit here either in one of the chairs or over on the swing. And especially in the evening. This morning I came out and there were deer in the front yard. And it's easy to just sit here and talk to the Lord. It's easy to sit here and say, just think about what you've learned about Him. Just think about what He's done in your life, and just think about what you've learned about Him. Sometimes I'll sit out here and just play my guitar and sing worship songs. Or sometimes I'll sit out here and just think about ideas for sermons. and just think about what God has been teaching me. And whenever I do, I always feel, whenever I take the time to do that, I always feel refreshed. It's a rest for my soul to just spend time with Jesus, spend time in His presence. And so as you concern yourself with rest for your body, you know, we when we go on vacation, we're not very good vacationers. We didn't get to take a vacation this year because of COVID, but we're not good vacationers, because when we go on vacation, we're going 90 miles an hour. We want to go, you know, we want to go rent jet skis. We want to go, you know, get a boat and go do this, or we want to go see this, or go to this place and watch that. And, you know, we're constantly on the run, and we come back tireder than when we went. But we feel a little bit refreshed from the day-to-day stresses of life because we've been distracted from them. But just as it's important to get rest for our bodies, it's also important to get rest for the soul. So think about that as you go through your day, and think about the source of that rest. It's found in a yoke with Jesus. You have a great day today. Hope it's filled with blessing. Hope it's filled with some rest. Talk to you tomorrow.